Howdy Commanders, Echo here. Today we're going to take a look at our new series called Take Me to the Chiropractor. This is Volume 1, Salty Potatoes. In this series, we're going to be highlighting those games that I know we all have, where you've just got to throw down the most Herculean of effort in an attempt to drag your sack of potatoes, sometimes mistakenly called your team, across the finish line, kicking and screaming for the win. Now, sometimes in this Take Me to the Chiropractor series, it's going to be the win, sometimes it's going to be a loss, so you'll just have to stay tuned. This game is in the Tier 6 Premium French Destroyer, the Le Terrible. We're on 2 brothers and capture the base. We've spawned southwest, and we are punching up to 7. Game's getting off here right as we get into it, and we take a look behind us at our friendly Bismarck and our friendly Nagato, and they've both figured out what their circle button does. Solid play. Solid play. Excellent. Nice to see our support battleships pushing up to support. Indianapolis, squishy American cruiser coming out into open water. Another stellar play. So we're pushing up to the west side here. We're going to go wide on this one. Udachi appears to be going inside. York and Chapayev, solid sonar, solid radar ships. Pop up, get spotted early. It'd be nice if we had some battleships close enough to start shooting at them. Indianapolis does have some good target selection here and chooses to open up on the York. Nice play on his part. Oh, look, we've got the other radar ship from the lineup as well on this side, Wichita. He's going to get lit here and stay lit for a while. Why don't y'all make note of the amount of time that this guy is spotted during this game and make note of who damages him and how much. York has already taken a bit of chunk damage there, so that's good to see. Kind of scares him off, chases him away a little bit. Indianapolis has got decent target selection, so we do have to credit him for that, but he has no sense of protecting his ship. He's sailing completely broadside on to a Wichita, a Chapayev. York has an angle on him, and of course an Amagi. Open water, totally broadside. I can't drop smoke for him. I don't know if he just doesn't know that I don't have a smoke screen or what. He's following me as if he's waiting for me to put some smoke down that he can pull into. I don't know. Maybe he's pushing up to try to cover radar. Maybe. I don't know why he's pushing up like this. He's basically throwing his ship away for no reason. Look at the Udachi's position on our team to our right, to our east. He's completely pinned up against the island. Now, in terms of creating a zone of spotting, that's a solid play. Where his blue ring is probably overlapping with mine. There's obviously no way we can tell that, but in all likelihood, his blue detection ring is overlapping with mine. So there's no way that an enemy destroyer could have slipped between us to get south towards our battleships and the Indianapolis and put pressure on our base. So that's solid. You know, my blue ring is up against the map border. No way a guy could get to our west. But with Udachi, he's pinned up against the island like that. So let's say a DD had tried to come through, spotted him, well then he's lit by a DD. The York was right there. Wichita, Chapayev, even Amagi. He's got nowhere to run. He's bow into the enemies. He's got nowhere to go. Enemy Vauclin and friendly Jervis trade over on the east. Not the best set of circumstances, but at least it was a trade. You know, would have obviously preferred our Jervis to get out of that alive, but, you know, what can you do over there on the east? Not much we can do to affect that. Udachi continues his blunder and continues to push in around a corner where he knew there was a York, gets point blank to a ship with the best sonar at the tier. Battleships still hanging back. They have to know by this point that there's no DD over here on the red team. They just watch Udachi die. The only real, any sort of torp threat on this side is now gone from the York. Push up. Stay bow in. There's not a whole lot that a Wichita and Chapayev can do to you as you close in on them. They can't stop you. If you're bow in, Amagi isn't going to be able to hurt you that much. Push in. Bismarck, you're more vulnerable to these guys at range. The Amagi's AP will shred you more and more every kilometer of distance that you are apart. Your strength lies in closing in with him bow in. The enemy Moss takes the middle, gets onto the base, forces me to come back. I'm spamming comms like target these guys, target these guys. Look at that Wichita. That is like the second set of shells that's hit this guy the whole time. We're basically 5 minutes into the game. Finally, somebody gives him a good thwacking and punishes him a little bit for staying lit the whole game broadside on. It's not enough, though. Wichita never sinks. I don't know if I've ever seen a Wichita get sunk in the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks, or however long it's been since people started getting those ships. I also land a torp on Wichita. Now, this might have been a bit of a misplay. I probably should have started lighting up the Wichita here to try to take him down with the guns, but I didn't want to sacrifice my health. I'm the only DD on my team. There are still 2 enemy DDs on the Reds, including one that's in our base. I don't trust east flank to be able to go take care of him. There's no cruiser here on the west flank to be able to take care of him. So I hold my shot, hold my shot, hold my shot. I knew he had burned his damage con from the flood. I was hoping, fingers crossed, decent fire chance on all the terrible shells. We're going to do 1 volley as we go behind the island. Hopefully that sets a fire. It does. That's great. Now the Wichita's got a tick on him. Granted, cruiser, fire isn't that damaging, but it's ticking him down, ticking him down, ticking him down, maybe forcing him to burn a heal. Moss pops up in our base. Okay, we've got him in range, we've got him in sight. Awesome, let's start lighting him up. He's still in his smoke. It's our cruiser that's got him spotted there. Awesome, we can shoot with total impunity. No one can shoot at us. We will stay unspotted. This is an awesome set of circumstances. Moss goes down there to the torps. He learned the lesson that usually early game on Two Brothers, not the best idea to take the middle channel. Prinz Eugen on a sliver of health kicks his heel on there and starts to recover a little bit of it. Our other cruiser's in a fight for his life over there. I'm spamming shoot the Fletcher, shoot the Fletcher, shoot the Fletcher as often as I can. If they could take out the Fletcher, that gives us at least a halfway decent chance to win. I will be the only DD left in this game. I'm on the blues. Gives us a good chance. Meanwhile, if we reshift our focus over to the west, what do we see? Wichita lit again, not getting shot, not getting killed. We lose our friendly Wichita over on the east. That was kind of an inevitability. He was surrounded, getting flanked. Fletcher and New Orleans and Bismarck shooting at him. On the west again, what do we see? A friendly battleship closing to within point-blank range of a Chapayev. I don't understand what, I don't understand. Maybe he had just finished playing Gneisenau, thought that his Bismarck also had torps. I don't know. Even if he did think that, I don't know why he thought he needed to get within the Chapayev's 4.5 kilometer torp range, when if he was thinking he had torps, they would have had a 6 kilometer range. So now we're in a bit of a bind. We're behind on ships. They have had a ship on our base, which gave them a couple more ticks of points over us. We're in a bad way. We've got to really start kicking on the effort here to win this game. So we're going to torp at Bismarck, come around east to try to take out Fletcher, so that way he's not a torp threat anymore. We knew he was low from the last time he was spotted. He obviously doesn't have a heal. 1 salvo takes out the Fletcher. Okay, now we're tied on ships again. We have a DD, they don't. Awesome. Yes, they still have 2 radar cruisers, but it's not the end of the world. We know roughly where both of those guys are, and we can try to deal with them. We've still got a lot of battleship weight in the fight, and we should be able to take down 2 cruisers who have been chunked a little bit already. Wichita is at around half health. We've also got our Prinz Eugen, who is healed up a little bit. He decides to go back up the channel to try to get on their base, to maybe try to equalize and compensate for the fact that we've had an enemy on our base. Not a bad play here. I'd say fairly strong choice to at least go up the channel and go to their base. Now, you'll see later what he does when he gets to that channel. Probably not the best, most solid play, but at this point of the game, tied on ships like this, low health as he was, that's probably the better play. Now, if he had more health, maybe not. Maybe stay back and help defend our base and chew up the enemies one at a time. But being low health like he was, with a Bismarck down here to shoot at him, probably the more solid play to go threaten their base. That would draw at least 1, if not 2 of their ships from the west, where we have no presence, back up north. So overall, a decently solid play. We get hit there by a Bismarck secondary that's shooting at our friendly battleship here, and it's just kind of an interesting thing. Odin way overextends. There's no reason for him to push this far east towards Bismarck. At this point, he should be able to see that my torps have Bismarck's number, and that he's going to get taken out by those torps that I launched at him. There's a little bit of a blammo moment, but no chance to celebrate. We are up by 1 ship. We are up on points now, but we quickly have a Chapayev closing in on our base to threaten it yet again. The western flank totally collapsed. Indy threw himself away. Udachi threw himself away. I believe it was a Nagato, or maybe it was a Magi. Some battleship over there also threw itself away. I had to come back over here for Moss. we had to basically abandon the western flank because it was untenable with 2 radar cruisers over there. We're launching torps at Chapayev, trying to stay out of his radar range. It's an obscenely long radar range on the Chapayev. Too long, in my opinion. Like, when you combine that with the laser accuracy and high shell velocity that those ships have, sure, it's a short duration, whatever. It's way too much of a threat, and it makes countering it with a destroyer almost impossible. Prinz Eugen has made his way up to the enemy base, but now he's overextending. What he should be doing is sitting just inside of that base. Just inside. You see there on the northern cap. Unfortunately, the northern cap does have an advantage in this way, but you still can get into the northern cap while protecting yourself. That's a Wichita up there. Stay bow in. You're in Prinz Eugen. Stay bow in. Stay angled such that as soon as Wichita has to come around the corner, he's right in your torp firing angles, point blank. You'll at least trade with him, probably end up killing him and getting out of there alive, because he's at best going to get 1 salvo off before his torps hit you. What you should not do is, in a low health Prinz Eugen, turn bow into a half health Wichita and try to close with him. I don't understand. We landed a torp on Chapayev, made him a low health target. We've got 2 battleships down here that I don't know why they aren't killing him, including an Odin that's got a short reload to begin with, and he probably has a build where it's even shorter. High health Odin, low health Chapayev. Odin, you have 6 kilometer torps. Chapayevs are only in the 4 range. Why are you getting this close? Why are you getting this close? Why are you getting this close? Oh, look at that. Some red triangles in the water from Chapayev going towards Odin. Odin does take him out with the torps, but there was no reason for that. Odin guns on a Chapayev, that's a hard counter. Odin takes a torp. He's getting thwacked. He's got a fire on him, it looks like. Amagi's closing in. Amagi's getting too close. Odin's losing health. He clearly didn't have a damage con ready because he's still flooding out. And Amagi finishes him off with the secondaries. Meanwhile, almost immediately thereafter, Wichita kills Prinz Eugen up north. Prinz Eugen doesn't have fish in the water. Wichita is going to end up living through that exchange. Prinz Eugen had the upper hand in that exchange. He has the advantage of, that angle of that island. He has the torps. I just don't understand. He's got better sonar so he can see the Wichita coming. Yeah, Wichita's probably maybe got a radar left, but anyway. We've still got 1 battleship. He's up east. All he needs to do is properly armor angle to keep himself alive against Amagi. If I take out Amagi in the remaining 2.5+ minutes, we end up winning the game. There we go. Dev Strike and High Caliber. A second blammo. No time to celebrate because Amagi gets a flesh wound and I'm left alone. I was so flabbergasted. At this point, the game is literally unwinnable. There's maybe 1 super small chance for me to win, and that is if Wichita is extremely low health after fighting that Eugen, and I can kill him in like a salvo or maybe 2. I'm luckily decently healthy, so Wichita will probably not be able to kill me in 1 or 2 salvos. So in terms of a DPM trade, the odds are in my favor. The problem is game clock and map position. I've had to be over here in the south-southeast dealing with battleships and cruisers that were pressuring the base for the last 5, 6, 7 minutes. A destroyer pressuring our base before that. I haven't been up there to be able to work on Wichita at all. And even if I would have been, Wichita is a hard counter to a destroyer. So the only chance we've got is kick the speed boost on like we did, and now we have to make a choice. Do we go up the channel or do we go around west? One could say this was a bad choice. I don't know, maybe. But I was calculating, okay, like I have to get all the way through the channel basically to be able to see this guy if he's even remotely in the same position that he is now. Maybe he's going to go through the channel to come back south. Maybe he's going to go west. If I was him and I was in his position, I would just go as far to the northwest part of the map as I possibly could and just point my bow right at that corner to minimize the chance of getting spotted and killed by me, the last destroyer left on the game. 50 seconds left. There's 1 tiny little prayer. I've got my guns pre-locked, hoping that this guy is, I don't know, chasing damage or chasing kills, wants to be a hero. he's demonstrated that he's a solid player up till now, was lit for so long, didn't end up dying, won in a one-on-one fight against an Eugen who had the extreme advantage over him. So I definitely don't think this player is a dummy, but I'm hoping beyond hope that, I don't know, maybe his engine got knocked out by Eugen and he's still sitting over here, or he is trying to be a hero, chase damage, chase kills, and coming around this corner. But there's just not enough time. He ends up not getting spotted the rest of the game. And in spite of our 104,000 damage, 3 kill, double dev strike, high caliber effort, all the spotting we did on the radar cruisers, setting our team up for success. Okay, clawing back the lead. We've got the lead again. Just don't die. Okay, you died. Do something else, Herculean. Okay, we've got the lead again. Just don't die. Oh, you died. Over and over and over again, it seemed, in this game. We still couldn't drag our sack of potatoes across the finish line, kicking and screaming for the win. Good on Chapayev for getting a really nice score up there, and Witherer, that's a medal that you don't see terribly often. And really, when you stack up all those medals on the enemy team, you know, like Flesh Wounds and Dev Strikes, they got first blood, technically, sort of, kind of. I mean, it was a trade with our Jervis, so it's a wash, but taking out one of our DDs as the first kill, definitely a hard thing to come back from. So for some closing thoughts as we take a quick look at the build, you know, I feel I played a fairly tight game there. There's a little bit of stuff here and there that I maybe could have done a little bit better, but overall I think I played just about as great of a game as I could have there, trying to set my team up for success and help us pull out the win. Especially when you consider that that was, I believe, my second or third game in the Laterable ever. And I wasn't totally familiar with how the ship played yet. I think I did just about as good a job as I possibly could have, given the game situation and the threats presented to me. Radar cruiser double up on my side, battleships that wouldn't push, destroyers that threw themselves away, battleships that threw themselves away, etc. So take it from community contributor Spotted Gecko. He says it with some regularity that, sometimes you can do everything right and you still don't win. And I think that's an example of this right here in this game. So, just try to keep that frame of reference in mind and don't get too overly upset. Try not to, at least, or if you do, try to come back down from that as best you can before you enter your next match. And don't carry it with you. Don't play on tilt. Well, let me know in the comments below what you thought of that game, and if you spotted anything else in the play-by-play that I might have missed. If you have suggestions for a thing or two here and there that I could have done better, please let me know. As I mentioned, this is one of my first games in the Laterable. French DDs overall are fairly new, so they do have a slightly different playstyle. So I'm happy to hear you out and hear your thoughts on things I maybe could have done better for next time around. Thanks an awful lot for listening, everyone. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, stay salty, Commanders.